Portugal, a country where the sea speaks in whispers, and the stones remember. Beyond its golden beaches, storied cities, and sun-drenched vineyards lies a Portugal few travelers truly meet. Not just a destination, but a gentle hush in the noise of the world, where time slows. The scent of salt and citrus floats on the breeze, and saudade lingers like a half-forgotten melody in the soul. This is the unseen Portugal, where beauty is not loud, but layered, where each tiled facade, each shadowed alley, and each distant bell toll carries the weight of centuries. Stand at the edge of Cabo da Roca as the Atlantic crashes below, and feel the wind tug at your thoughts. Or drift through the vineyards of the Douro Valley, where terraces climb like prayers into the hills, and wine flows with stories older than memory. Wander the cobbled lanes of Óbidos, whitewashed and timeless, or lose yourself in the tangled magic of Alfamar, where fado music spills from open windows and clotheslines flutter like flags of everyday life. Watch fishermen return to Nazaré with salt on their skin and legends in their eyes, while just beyond, waves rise like living giants. Even in Lisbon's steep hills and Porto's riverside charm, there is something unspoken, an elegance wrapped in melancholy, a quiet pride in tradition and craft. You'll find it in a hand-painted tile, a bowl of caldo verde, or the way the sun kisses the azulejos just before it sets. It's in the silence between words, in the space between footsteps, in the warmth of a stranger's nod. Portugal doesn't clamor for your attention. It invites you in gently, through the hush of ancient monasteries, the shade of olive groves, the mist on the trails of Madeira, or the volcanic hush of the Azores. Here, you are reminded that slowness is not idleness. It is reverence for land, for memory, for life. So, traveler, here's a question for you. Which Portuguese writer gave voice to this quiet beauty, capturing the soul of a country in poetry, in prose, in longing? Leave your answer below. No compass needed. Portugal is not just a place on the map. It's a rhythm, a breath, a soft unfolding. A place that doesn't just ask you to see, but to feel, to linger, to remember. Lisbon, perched along the edge of the Atlantic, is a city that hums gently with sunlight and saudade. It doesn't announce itself with grandeur, though it could. Instead, it leans into the hills, lets the wind off the river ruffle its tiled skin, and waits. For those who come not to rush, but to feel. This is not a city you conquer with an itinerary. Lisbon unfolds slowly, like the breeze that stirs the jacaranda blossoms in early summer. You wander, not out of purpose, but because the streets beckon. Calçada underfoot, the mosaic stones shimmer in morning light. Tram 28 rattles up impossibly steep streets, its yellow frame slicing between past and present. Don't come to Lisbon expecting answers. Come with questions, with space in your heart, with the willingness to be moved by things as simple as light on a tiled wall or the taste of fresh pastel de nata at sunrise. Lisbon doesn't try to impress. It offers something better. The rare, honest gift of stillness inside motion. A rhythm you don't hear but feel. A city that whispers always, "Stay a little longer." Madeira, rising quietly from the Atlantic, doesn't clamor for attention. It simply exists, wild, fragrant, and eternal. A floating garden wrapped in mist and ocean wind. A place where mountains meet clouds and flowers bloom without asking permission. This is not an island that rushes to be understood. Madeira reveals itself slowly, like the curling tendrils of fog that drift down from the Laura Silva forest. One minute you're on a winding cliff road overlooking crashing waves. The next you're among terraced vineyards where the only sound is bird song and the wind combing through sugarcane. This is not a place that begs to be photographed. It asks only that you stay long enough to notice. The way a butterfly lands on volcanic rock. The way the air smells after rain. The way everything, even the stillness, feels alive. Madeira won't try to impress you. It will just wait, as it always has, as it always will. Come not to check off a destination, but to feel the weightlessness of being somewhere that doesn't ask for anything except your presence. Come to drift, to breathe. To remember that not all beauty needs to be loud. Some beauty just needs time. Madeira will give it to you, all of it, quietly, generously, completely. Porto, where the Douro flows slow and steady like a deep breath between stories, isn't a city that dazzles you at first glance. It doesn't need to. Porto is quieter than Lisbon, rougher around the edges, but that's its invitation. Less a postcard, more a poem written in granite and sea mist. Porto doesn't rush you. It lets you wander. Along tiled walls that shimmer in morning light, through bookstores that smell of ink and rain, into cafes where time slows over pastel de nata and the clink of ceramic cups. Porto is not about what you check off, but what you feel. The weight of centuries in a cathedral's stillness. The warmth of a handwritten menu. The moment you realize that beauty doesn't need polish, it needs soul. You don't visit Porto. You fold into it. Let it stain your fingers with wine and your heart with saudade. Because Porto doesn't try to charm you, it simply is, and somehow, that's more than enough. Abydos, wrapped in the embrace of ancient stone walls and whispering winds, doesn't shout to be seen. It murmurs. A town that feels like a secret passed down through generations, nestled on a hill where time folds gently around cobbled streets and whitewashed houses. This is not a place you simply visit. Abydos draws you in slowly, like ink bleeding across parchment. You arrive through the medieval gate, beneath an arch painted with azulejos, and suddenly, the world feels quieter, more intentional. The scent of orange blossoms, roasted almonds, and old paper drifts through the air like memories. Abydos holds its stories in silence. In the worn cobblestones that have cradled centuries of footsteps. In the ginja liqueur served in tiny chocolate cups, sweet and bitter like the past. In the ancient aqueduct that still stands like a spine of memory across the landscape. Abydos doesn't ask you to check off landmarks. It invites you to linger, to get lost, to listen to walls that speak in silence. Come not for the grand, but for the quiet grace. Come not to escape, but to remember what stillness feels like. Abydos is waiting. In the hush of its alleys, in the softness of its air, in the pages of a story it's still writing, slowly, beautifully, with you in it. Azenas do Mar, perched dramatically on the edge of the Atlantic Ocean just north of Lisbon, is a postcard-perfect coastal village that embodies the charm and tranquility of Portugal's western seaboard. Carved into the cliffs of the Sintra coastline, this small yet stunning enclave is known for its whitewashed houses cascading down towards the sea, a natural ocean pool, and panoramic views that stir the soul. Azenas do Mar offers an authentic and peaceful escape, where nature, culture, and simplicity exist in beautiful harmony. Culinary experiences in Azenas do Mar are deeply tied to the sea. Oceanfront restaurants serve fresh seafood straight from the Atlantic. Grilled fish, clams in garlic and wine, and octopus rice are just a few regional delicacies. Paired with crisp Portuguese white wine and the salty ocean breeze, a meal here becomes something more than just food. It becomes a memory etched in taste and atmosphere. Nature enthusiasts will find joy in exploring the surrounding areas. Just a short drive away lies Sintra Cascais Natural Park, with its pine forests, hidden beaches, and historic palaces. Coastal trails offer opportunities for hiking, photography, and bird watching, while the waves attract surfers seeking uncrowded swells. The energy of the Atlantic is ever present, invigorating and raw, yet balanced by the peacefulness of village life. It's not a place of loud attractions or bustling crowds, but one where calm prevails, and the beauty of Portugal reveals itself slowly, gently, and wholeheartedly, a hidden gem where land, sea, and spirit meet. The Azores, an archipelago adrift in the heart of the Atlantic Ocean, are among Portugal's most astonishing natural treasures. Made up of 9 volcanic islands, this remote paradise is a place where emerald lakes fill volcanic craters, hydrangeas bloom along winding roads, and the rhythms of nature set the pace of life. Untouched and awe-inspiring, the Azores offer a rare kind of beauty, wild, raw, and deeply serene. The islands reflect Portugal's quiet connection to the ocean, shaped by centuries of sailing, farming, and fishing. Time feels suspended here. Life unfolds gently, inviting travelers to slow down and explore at a thoughtful pace. Whether that means bathing in a natural hot spring, hiking along ancient lava trails, or simply watching clouds drift over a crater lake. The geothermal waters of Furnas, the mirror-like surface of Lagoa do Fogo, and the vineyards of Pico, carved into black volcanic rock, all tell stories of resilience and beauty. Nature lovers and adventurers will find endless inspiration. Whale watching off the coast of Pico, diving in the clear waters of Terceira, and canyoning through São Jorge's waterfalls are just a few of the experiences that connect visitors to the wild heart of the archipelago. The Azores are also a sanctuary for mindfulness, where stargazing under pristine skies or sitting beside a crater lake brings a sense of stillness rarely found elsewhere. This is not a place of spectacle, but of subtle wonder, a realm where land and sea breathe in harmony, where life is elemental, and where beauty, once discovered, lingers in the soul. Évora, quietly nestled in Portugal's Alentejo region, doesn't shout for your attention. It doesn't dazzle with towering skylines or modern gloss. Instead, it waits, unmoved by time, wrapped in warm hues of ochre and stone, inviting you to step into a slower, softer rhythm of life. Here, the past is not a museum. It's a living presence, a whisper in the stone arches of the cathedral, in the cool shadows of ancient cloisters, in the way sunlight drapes over tiled facades like an old memory returning. The Chapel of Bones, solemn and strange, offers no spectacle, only reflection. Évora doesn't tell you what to feel, it simply lets you feel. So come with no agenda. Come not to tick off landmarks, but to let Évora find you, quietly, deeply. Let it show you that the sacred is not always gilded. Sometimes it's simply a place that endures, a place that holds your gaze a little longer than expected, a place that asks nothing of you but presence. Because Évora doesn't perform. It remembers, and in doing so, it helps you remember too. The Algarve coast, located in the southernmost region of Portugal, is a breathtaking stretch of coastline known for its golden beaches, dramatic cliffs, and charming seaside towns. Framed by the warm waters of the Atlantic Ocean, the Algarve offers a sun-drenched escape that seamlessly blends natural beauty, cultural richness, and a laid-back lifestyle. With its mild climate and inviting landscapes, it stands as one of Europe's most cherished coastal destinations. The region is also deeply connected to its maritime history. Once a hub of seafaring and exploration during the Age of Discoveries, the Algarve is dotted with historic forts, lighthouses, and traditional fishing villages. In towns like Tavira, Faro, and Sagres, visitors can wander cobbled streets lined with whitewashed houses, tiled churches, and bustling markets that reflect the Algarve's rich cultural heritage. With its perfect blend of dramatic landscapes, cultural richness, and sunny tranquility, the Algarve stands as one of Portugal's most captivating regions, a place where the sea meets the soul in perfect harmony. Nazaré, cradled where the cliffs meet the Atlantic, doesn't roar for attention, though the waves sometimes do. It waits instead, cloaked in sea mist and the hush of old fishing songs. A town where time slows with the tides and stories live in every grain of sand. This is not a place you race through. Nazaré reveals itself gently, like the rising swell of the ocean just before it breaks. One moment, you're walking barefoot along the calm shoreline. The next, you're standing at the edge of the world on the cliffs of Sitio, watching waves taller than houses thunder into the bay. There's awe here. Not because the ocean is loud, but because it is alive. And then, there is the silence. Not absence, but fullness. It wraps around you at dawn, when the beach is empty and the sea for a moment holds its breath. It greets you at the chapel atop the cliffs, where votive candles flicker beside stories of shipwrecks and prayers answered. Here, even faith feels tied to the sea. This isn't a place that asks you to do much. It just invites you to be present, open, still, to listen to the heartbeat beneath the crashing surf, to feel wonder without needing to chase it. Nazaré doesn't need to impress. It waits, and in that waiting, in its raw honesty, it touches something deeper, something you'll carry long after you've left the shore behind. Come not to conquer the waves, come to surrender to their rhythm. Nazaré will meet you there, in its wind, its silence, its soul. Braga, nestled in the green heart of northern Portugal, is a city where ancient devotion and youthful energy intertwine. Known as the country's spiritual center, this historic gem holds more than just centuries-old cathedrals. It's a place where time-honored traditions meet vibrant modern life, all set against a backdrop of rolling hills, ornate architecture, and quiet charm. Culinary experiences in Braga are rich, honest, and comforting. Local favorites like bacalhau à Braga, codfish with onions and potatoes, pudim abade de priscos, a decadent egg and port pudding, and freshly baked pastries speak to a region proud of its flavors. Meals are a celebration, slow, hearty, and best shared with wine from nearby vineyards. This is not just a destination, it's a quiet revelation. In Braga, beauty doesn't clamor for attention. It lingers in the silence of ancient chapels, in the warmth of local smiles, and in the stillness of early evening when the city glows gold. Here, the past breathes easily beside the present, and every moment feels like a gentle prayer. Cabo da Roca, perched at the edge of mainland Europe, is a place where the land exhales into the Atlantic. Wild, windswept, and poetic, this dramatic headland just west of Lisbon is not only a geographical landmark, it's an emotional one. Here the cliffs stand as sentinels over the ocean, and every gust of salty wind seems to whisper an ancient truth. This is where the world feels infinite. Standing at Cabo da Roca, you feel small in the best way. With towering cliffs dropping steeply into crashing waves and the horizon stretching endlessly westward, it's easy to understand why the poet Luis de Camões once called this where the land ends and the sea begins. The raw, untouched beauty of the landscape is both humbling and exhilarating. There are no distractions here, just rock, wind, sky, and sea. The surrounding landscape invites you to linger, not rush. Coastal paths wind through low scrub and wind-swept grasses, perfect for contemplative walks. As the sun begins to dip, painting the cliffs in hues of gold and crimson, even the most hurried traveler feels compelled to stop and watch. It's a place for reflection of where you are and perhaps who you are. Cabo da Roca isn't the end of the road. It's a threshold, a place where silence speaks louder than words, where the ocean sings to the stones, and where travelers come not to find something new, but to remember something old. Wonder. Guimarães, quietly resting in northern Portugal, is not a city that clamors for your attention. It doesn't need to. This is where Portugal was born, not in a blaze of grandeur, but in the steady rhythm of stone and silence, in the weathered archways and slate roofs that have watched the centuries pass. To walk through Guimarães is to step into a story whispered through time. The streets curve like the script of an ancient manuscript, tight, cobbled, and intimate. Ivy climbs slowly up granite walls, and the scent of wood smoke and earth lingers in the air. The castle on the hill stands not as a monument, but as a quiet guardian of memory, its silhouette etched permanently against the northern sky. There's a humility to Guimarães, a reverence. The buildings lean in close as though sharing secrets. The medieval quarter doesn't feel like a showcase. It feels lived in, cherished. Laundry hangs from balconies, children's laughter bounces off alley walls. And each worn stone underfoot feels like it remembers every footstep that came before yours. In the main square, Largo da Oliveira, time rests. Locals gather under shaded arcades, coffee cups warmed by hands, conversations meandering like the gentle winds through olive branches. There is no rush here, just presence, just patience. Even the great church of Nossa Senhora de Oliveira seems content to sit quietly and watch the world unfold. And perhaps that is Guimarães' quiet magic. It does not just tell the story of a nation. It invites you into its rhythm, into its stillness, into the tender space between memory and moment. Come without hurry, come without expectation. Let Guimarães show you that the soul of a place isn't found in what it boasts, but in what it remembers, and in what it offers softly to those who listen. Douro Valley, carved gently by the winding river that bears its name, is not merely a landscape. It's a poem written in terraces and time. Tucked into the heart of northern Portugal, this region doesn't try to impress with grandeur. It simply exists, quiet, dignified, and utterly timeless. To journey through the Douro Valley is to be wrapped in a tapestry of vineyard-covered hills that roll endlessly toward the horizon. Here, the earth is patient. Generations have worked this soil, hands tending vines that twist like stories passed from one season to the next. The air smells of sun-warmed stone and fermenting grapes, and silence stretches wide, broken only by bird song or the soft lapping of water against boat hulls. There is a magic to the Douro that cannot be captured in photos or itineraries. It lives in the golden late-afternoon light, in the rustle of olive trees, in the stories whispered along the riverbanks. This valley doesn't try to impress. It invites. It doesn't rush. It lingers. Because in the Douro Valley, beauty doesn't announce itself. It just is. And in its presence, you remember that the most extraordinary things are often the ones that ask nothing of you, except that you simply stay. Coimbra, nestled gently along the banks of the Mondego River, is not a city that shouts for attention. It sings softly and soulfully. Once the capital of Portugal, Coimbra today feels like a city in quiet conversation with time. Its hills whisper stories of poets, philosophers, and kings. Its air carries the faint echo of ancient chants and the rustle of pages turned beneath stone arches. To walk through Coimbra is to move between eras. Atop the hill, the University of Coimbra, one of the oldest in Europe, watches over the city like a wise old guardian. Within its 13th century walls, time folds in on itself. Gilded libraries hold worlds between shelves, and students in black robes still roam the cobbled courtyards, their footsteps echoing centuries of learning and longing. And yet, Coimbra is not a relic. It breathes. You feel it in the strum of a guitarra portuguesa during a haunting fado performance, sung not on grand stages but in intimate corners, lit by warm, flickering light. Fado in Coimbra is unlike any other. It's softer, more personal. A lament? Yes, but also a lullaby to memory. The city's beauty lies in its layers. Roman ruins lie beneath medieval arches. Gardens burst with life where once stood monasteries. The Sevilla, with its fortress-like walls, stands firm and stoic, while nearby cafes spill out onto quiet squares where locals gather to talk, not rush. Here, you are reminded that connection matters more than speed. But Coimbra is also a place of reflection. Sit by the Mondego River as golden light pools across its surface. Watch boats glide by lazily, the city rising behind them in soft pinks and creams. The water mirrors the sky, and for a moment, so do you. There is peace in Coimbra, a stillness that asks nothing of you but to be present. There are cities you visit for thrills. Coimbra offers something rarer, tenderness. It doesn't dazzle, it endures. Its magic is not in spectacle, but in substance, in the way it holds history close, without being weighed down by it. In the way it teaches that knowledge is not only found in books, but in silence, song, and shared glances. You don't come to Coimbra for a checklist of sights. You come to listen, to the river, to the stones, to yourself. And in that quiet, you just might hear something you've long forgotten. Perhaps in Coimbra, you don't simply arrive. You return. Sintra doesn't arrive with fanfare. It drifts toward you like a dream softened by mist and time. Nestled among forested hills just outside Lisbon, Sintra doesn't dazzle. It enchants. Not loudly, not all at once, but slowly, deeply, like a secret whispered by an ancient stone wall or a path disappearing into moss. Sintra lets you believe. There's the Pina Palace, perched high, dressed in impossible colors, part fairy tale, part fever dream, and yet beneath the whimsy, you sense a certain melancholy, as if its turrets remember centuries of watching clouds pass, lovers leave, and kings dream. Sintra doesn't perform. It exists. In the hush between footsteps, in the weight of carved stone, in the warmth of old walls holding centuries of breath. It's not a destination, it's a state of mind, where myth and memory walk hand in hand, and the world feels, if only for a moment, quieter and more beautiful than you remembered. You don't conquer Sintra, you surrender to it, and long after you leave, it lingers, in the corners of your thoughts, in the colors of your dreams, not loud, not sharp, just there, like mist, like magic.